I'm Lloyd Holiday, and this is the Cost of a Thing podcast. Thanks for listening in today. So what happened to that great standard of living that we had in the 1960s and 70s that I think was a lot better than what we've got today in America? And that's what I'm going to be talking about here on the Cost of a Thing podcast. Anything that affects our standard of living. And with this coronavirus threat going on right now around the world and in our country, in the United States here, that is going to lead to a lower standard of living for us at the time, because when your health is threatened, you're worried about that, it's a little bit harder to live. Okay, today I want to talk about how the impeachment proceedings and all that went on there was a distraction of our entire government and may have led to the government not being able to respond to this coronavirus as well as it might have. I mean, this impeachment, or I call it crap-peachment, because I think it was just basically a harassment that was done to try to purposely distract the president and harass him so that he couldn't get much else done and, give him a black eye of some sort. And I've done a couple of podcasts, and they're up on the screen there. One was called The 12 Days of Christmas Impeachment, and the other one was called Pelosi Should Have Called Lloyd, kind of a comedy, my attempt at some comedy about how she should have called Lloyd and asked before she went ahead with the impeachment. And they're both a little from the comical standpoint. And I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, independent. And I just want what's best for the United States. And there, up on the screen there now, is a list of the 12 days of Christmas impeachment. It's the harassment that the liberals or the Democrats have been doing against Donald Trump since the first day he announced he was going to run for president. I mean, they've been harassing this guy, and impeachment was just one of the latest things in that string of things, as you can see there. I'm not going to talk about all those because I did a whole 12 Days of Christmas podcast, and I showed you the link there a minute ago, and you can check that out if you're interested in that. But yes, I think the impeachment and the other harassment techniques these people are doing in the media, prosecuting this harassment against the president for many years since he got in there, and I think that did take a toll. It took a toll on Donald Trump, and it took a toll on the Congress, and it took a toll on the courts. All of this has been tied up with this, was tied up for months with this crap-peachment. And I don't really care who's president. You don't want to distract that guy, because there's important things coming down the pike that he should have his attention on, and the Congress should have their attention on. There shouldn't be any of this frivolous harassment type stuff going on. And of course, Pelosi knew that he'd never be removed. It was just like a harassment lawsuit against a neighbor or something that you want to get back at because you don't like what he said or did or something like that. And we all know that's the way that was. And in life, we all know there's only so much energy a person has in a day. Each person has a certain amount of energy, and where you're going to direct that energy is important. And a lot of the energy in the last several months before this coronavirus came up was directed toward that impeachment, and that was just a big waste of time and energy. And that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to distract Donald Trump. They were trying to distract the Congress so they couldn't get anything done that maybe they wouldn't like or agree with. And I think that's what was done here. The president and the Congress have a job to do, and, this was a purposeful interference with that job. And I think it did cause a delay in maybe addressing this coronavirus issue and maybe cause things to be a little worse than they would. Maybe not. I don't know. I mean, it's possible that it would have been just as bad as it was, or even worse without that. But I think that did play a role. Just my own personal opinion, and I think if most thinking people think about it, they would probably agree with that somewhat anyway. And you know, when you do harassment on someone like that, take their energy away, distract their energies, there are consequences. Many times they're very severe consequences. And that goes for people's personal lives too. When you're distracted, you may miss something that you would have normally caught if you didn't have those distractions and harassments going on in your life. And unfortunately, harassment, political harassment like that, is a common thing in our society now. Even back to the Bill Clinton impeachment, I didn't think that was right either. Yeah, that was the other party. The Republicans at that time in the 90s were trying to impeach Bill Clinton over some kind of sexual thing in the White House. That's not what impeachment's meant for, in my opinion. I mean, I'm not going to get into that, but it's meant for very severe crimes, not personal indiscretions. So I'm going to wrap this up today, and, if you have any comments, feel free to put them in there, and we'll take a look at them, because everybody's got their own point of view on things, of course. Thank you for listening in today, and until next time, this is Lloyd Holiday signing off.